Hey, Joe Mastriano, CPA, and welcome to my Live at 5, the Joe Mastriano Experience. Now, I've done thousands of IRS cases for over 40 years, and I'm going to keep telling everybody about how messed up government offices are. Let's start with the TWC. They just sent out notices for the third quarter saying your reports are due by the end of October, when they should have sent out the December notices, and then they send another email saying, well, here's the December notice. Let's talk about the IRS now. I've got someone that I met with today that a revenue officer is summoning her for records for 2002 through 2008. 2002 is 20 years ago. Normally, they're not supposed to go back more than 7 years. But it looks like they're going after us like crazy now, and they're going to go back to any years that you haven't filed and see what they can get from you. Fortunately for my client, is that she filed for those years jointly with her husband, and this revenue officer doesn't even know that, hasn't done his homework, which I keep finding out also because people that any company is hiring now, especially if they're young, they're not well educated, and not everybody young, of course, but in general, they're not well educated. At least that's what I found with the IRS in particular. So let's talk about another big IRS mix up. So I have a client, ex-client, trying to get it back. I still have a power of attorney on her. And we get a letter dated the same day this January, and it's for the same years, 2020 and 21. And one letter says, we've made you uncollectible. Now she owes over 700,000 and makes over $1 million. How they would deem her uncollectible makes no sense to me. But the second letter that has the same date and the same tax periods says we've accepted your agreement for $6,500 a month. And so here's two letters from the same automated collection division, one stating that the taxpayer is deemed uncollectible, and the other stating we've accepted your agreement. In my whole 42-year career of doing this, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm going to keep reporting every day these kind of things. And I've got to tell you, you've got to be a fool not to have us audit proof your returns, or to have your tax preparer represent you in an audit. If you're still old school thinking that your tax preparer told you that you just need to have some receipts to prove your deductions, you're going to be one of these people that come to me that have a $50,000 tax bill because the IRS doesn't want to accept your deductions or your how you treated your income, because you don't understand what I'm about to tell you. So here goes. Each item on your return has its own set of rules. Yeah, 75% are the same, receipts and invoices. But there's always the other 25% that they will try to use against you. And rightly so if you don't fight it. But why spend 10, 20 grand, whatever, to go to court? Usually it's going to be more, and you're not going to fight it. So people are going to cough up 5 or 10 or 15 grand to the IRS, because they disallowed expenses that the person actually had. And what I do is explain these items to people. And as a general rule, those of you who are listening to my videos, I'll tell you now, get J.K. Lass's Your Income Tax. That's the name of the book. And read up on what they consider backup for each item. For example, a common misconception is somebody who has a cell phone that they only have one phone and they use it for business and personal, and they want to deduct it, and the IRS requires you have a separate cell phone for business. If it's combined use, they're not going to give you the business portion of the bill. You don't get anything. There's several other areas too. And once you understand the law and once you understand what the IRS does, then it's very easy to do things that put those rules in your favor. One of the things we do is I have my 4-part audit proof checklist that to this day, not one person I know was audited when we used it for the current tax year. And that's critically important now because the IRS is going after people like crazy. Like I just told you, that 2002 through 2008, unbelievable. And I've got some other examples too about even in audits. That was the subject for another video where they're not even accepting the level of evidence, the top level of evidence that they easily would have accepted in the past. So I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. But again, I want to urge you, if you have any matters before the IRS, please don't be foolish and answer a letter independently. If you don't know what's on your transcripts, if you can't verify that all your returns are filed on your transcripts, that's pretty sad. Come to me, let me pull your transcripts for you. And if you have years that have a liability on it, you have to make sure your transcripts state that that liability is part of an installment agreement or that that's part of an offer in compromise that's being looked at by the offer division, not that they received your offer, but there's an offer specialist actually working on it, or you're in a bankruptcy for those particular years. Otherwise, expect levies, retirement account, spouse's paycheck, your paycheck, bank accounts, anything. Probably not a seizure yet. They haven't been doing much of those lately. But it doesn't matter who you hire. And people still put their head in the sand and live in the dark, and they say, oh, well, my CPA is taking care of me, or I got an attorney and they're taking care of me. And they're all false beliefs. Okay? You ask your CPA, you ask your attorney, have you checked my transcripts? Do I have any years on those transcripts that are not in a binding installment agreement? Do I have any years on those transcripts that are not being handled by an offer and compromise specialist? Then what the heck are you doing? How are you protecting me? Do not falsely believe you're being protected. Call Stephanie, 713-774-4467. She'll answer your questions for free, and she'll determine whether you should set up a consultation with me. And that's it. See you next time.